Hello, everybody. I'm so glad that you can make it here today, and I'm excited to bring you Google Forms. All right, so I am Eric DeVault, and I'm a Google certified trainer. I'm getting a lot of feedback in my ears, so I think I'm just take them off. All right. I think I sound like I'm talking in slow-mo, but now I'm good to go. Today, I'm going to be bringing you multiple different types of Google Forms that you can use in your classes, outside of your classes, wherever you might be using Google Forms. The concepts that I'm going to be teaching can be used anywhere. I am going to focus in on education, though. So if you're an educator and you are here watching, welcome. As you can see by my shirt, I'm a USA archery coach, so some future live streams might include some archery as well as other tech stuff. I've got a lot of ideas that I'd like to share with you, and I hope that you are going to get a lot of good information from me today. And so let's get going. I want to switch over to my Google Drive. There we go. And I want to start off with some easier Google Forms for you to use today. And in case you didn't know, there are templates inside of Google Drive that you can use. So if you go, and these are the easiest ones to make or to use because they're already made. If you go to forms.google.com, you'll see template categories or template gallery. If you click on that, you can see there's personal, there's education, work, and so up here in education, I've used these up here several times. The first one is a course evaluation. I used this one. Let me open that up for you. This is one that I try to use every semester with my students and to try to get feedback from them to see what they like or didn't like about the course, especially in my health classes because they switch every semester, and I want to make sure that I can make those changes right away in my classes. You can see it starts with the class name, so if this is just a generic one, you can always modify it. So the students would type in the name of your class, your name as the instructor, and then they would type in, let's go to a preview real quick so I can make sure I read all these correctly. And this section I always leave in, I never edit it out, the level of effort you put into the course. I keep that in there because if a student says that they put in poor or fair effort, then the rest of the evaluation might or might not be valid. You just have to take that into consideration. If a student says that they have excellent or very good or satisfactory level of effort into the class, they're probably going to give you a good evaluation. Not that you're always looking for a good, but I mean, what I mean is, in the past when I've had kids say poor or fair, they criticize and ridicule me, not the class. And that's one thing you have to do is make sure you don't take these evaluations personal, just professional, to try to make your class a little bit better. We want to do that for our students every chance we get a chance, every time we get a chance to. And then you have these contribution to learning questions. This again is for the students, the level of skill, knowledge at the start of the course, level of skill, knowledge at the end of the course. This is them basically doing a reflection, and then it goes to the skill and responsiveness of the instructor. Sometimes, depending on the class and whether this is right or wrong, I don't know, sometimes I'll leave this section in, and sometimes I'll leave it out. I've had kids in the past where they just strongly disagree with everything just because they don't like me, not whether I was really a good teacher or not. And I try not to take it personal, but you know what? I'm a human, and sometimes that happens, and it's hard to get over a strongly disagree or a disagree whenever you're doing the best you can. Um, then the next is the course content. I always leave this part in because the content is what I really want to try to get better. I'm still working on myself, of course. I want to get better as a person, as an instructor. But the content is really, for me, the most important because I'm a fairly new health teacher, even though I've been teaching for 25 years. My most of my experience has been in physical education, not in health. So I'm trying to get better at the health side of my teaching, and that's why I usually use this course content as the most important part of the evaluation that students do for me. And then there's some open-ended questions here. What aspects of this course were most useful or valuable? How would you improve this course? And then this can be, I always take this question off. Why did you choose this course? For my health classes, it's just a requirement. And but if it was a student who was maybe at the college level and a college professor was using this, this might be a more valuable question. But I always like to use this course evaluation Google form. It's a great way for me to get feedback from my students and try to become a better teacher. So if you have any questions or comments as I go through, please make sure to type those in the comment box down below, and I'll try to answer any questions you might have. Next, in that Google Forms area is an exit ticket. I'll show you that real quick. I'll go to the preview section, and I really like this a lot. I'm not sure who the designers were for this Google form, but it's a great exit ticket. It has a name, email for your students. Sometimes I will add in what hour do you have health or physical education. That way I can use it for multiple classes and then separate it out. And then, what was one important thing you learned in class today? Did you feel prepared for today's lesson? Why or why not? And what would help make today's lesson more effective? And those are just some great questions. In the past, I've used this and modified it a little bit to be more specific for the lesson that day, or if I'm looking for something specific out of my lesson that I want to make sure that the students are really learning and knowing. And that is the exit ticket Google form that's pre-made by Google. And then the first one that I would like to show you, that is, I didn't create this, but I learned about it from Justin Slider from Twitter, and it's called the Never Ending Google Form, and I use this with my students all the time. Not only will I show you what this form is, but I'm going to show you how to build it as well. It's a super easy build for a Google form, and you can get lots of information from it. So there's only 3 questions. What is being assessed today? And then you have a grid question with the students' names down the side, your rubric criteria across the top, and then if a student is absent or they have a medical excuse why they can't participate, you can check that as well. And then I always like to put comments question at the bottom. That way, if I don't remember what I'm looking for my 4, 3, 2, 1, I can put those down in the comments. Or if I just any other notes that I might need to take. So I want to show you an example of this. So we're going to say student 1 is absent or has a medical excuse why they are not participating for today's assessment. But let's choose the assessment first, I guess. Let's say pickle ball serve. Okay, that's something that I just went over with my classes today. Let's say student 2 got a 4, student 3 got a 2, student 4 got a 3, and student 5 received a 1. And then you're done. All you have to do, if you don't have any comments, you don't have to put anything there. I do have it starred like I need to do it, so I will put comments. Usually I don't make that a required question. I'm surprised I marked required on that. But I'll submit, and then the nice thing about this form is I can go back and reuse it again and again and again. The tricky thing, though, is I have to make sure to make a Google form like this for each hour that I teach. I cannot use this one over and over with multiple classes. It has to be a new Google form for each class. Now, if I want to type in just a couple more things, just so I can show you the spreadsheet, the back side, and you can see what's going on in the spreadsheet and what really is another part of the genius behind this Google form. Let's say student 1 is a 3, student 2 is a 4, a 3, a 2, and a 3. And overhand, I forgot to put that up top, so let's put it there, and then submit. And let's do one more before I show you the spreadsheet. And let's give everybody 4s on kicking. They're all really good kickers. This is a soccer style kick. And let's submit. And then I'm just going to close that and come back to where I can edit the form. Now, what I'm going to do before I show you how to build it, I'm going to go over to responses, and Google has already got these nice charts and things that you can use, but what I like to do, well, this is a summary of the whole class first, and then if you want to go to individuals, you can do that. Okay, and you can go by question and see the responses by question. But the best thing, in my mind, is to create a Google spreadsheet, a Google Sheet. Just click Create. It's doing its magic. And now you can see the day and time that you did the assessment. You can see what was being assessed. And then each column is a different student. And then you can see your comments. What is really nice about this is if you are, say, doing overhand throwing for multiple sports, maybe it's overhand throwing for football, overhand throwing for baseball, overhand throwing for softball, an overhand pass in basketball. Whatever sport uses an overhead throwing motion or overhand throwing motion, you could see or track progress over time and see how the kids are improving. You could then, if you wanted to, get an overall score for, say, just the overhand throw, if you assessed that in multiple ways. Or if you just, all of your skills, if you want to average all of your skills, you could put a total box over here somewhere and total and use a little formula to create a grade, an overall grade for the student for all of their skills. Now let's go back to the form so I can show you how to build this. This is a pretty easy build. I'm going to, let me just start from the beginning. I'm going to right click to make my menu come up. If I don't want to right click, I can always come over here to New, and I'm going to click on Google Forms, and then I'm going to call this Never Ending Google Form P1 for period 1. Then I come up here to the upper left corner and click, and it automatically puts in the title for me. Then I'm going to type in my first question, which was, what are we assessing today? With a question. And you're going to make sure that this is, you can choose short answer or paragraph. I usually choose short answer. I don't need that much space to type in what we are assessing. Like you saw earlier, it was like pickleball, serve, or throwing, or kicking. So it's a pretty short answer that you need. But if you're assessing something that takes a lot of space, you can definitely choose paragraph. I usually make that required so I don't forget to type it in. Then I'm going to add a question. And this question, if you come over here to where it says multiple choice, that's normally the default option. We're going to choose multiple choice, and then we're going to come down to check box grid and click checkbox grid. And then you'll have rows and columns. Now in the rows, this is where your student names go. So if I put in, let's say student 1, student 2, student 3, that's good for today. But if you download a Google Sheets or an Excel spreadsheet or a CSV file, you can then just copy and paste all of your students' names into that very first row, and it will automatically populate, which is really handy. That is normally how I do that. I do not type my students' names in one by one. That would take way too long. And then for the columns, this is where I would, in the very first one, this is where I put absent / medical, and then 4, 3, 2, 1, 0 for my rubric scores. And for me, I always use a 4-point rubric. 3 is meeting the standard, and then 4 is going above and beyond. Usually for me, 3 means they can do that skill in isolation. 4, they can do it in a actual game situation, so they're not isolated by themselves. I also make that required. And then my final question is just comments. And then I do put that in paragraph, and I try to remember to uncheck that required, because I don't always want to leave a comment for myself. And that is how easy it is to create the never-ending Google form. So if there's any questions about that, I'd be willing to take those in the chat. All right. Now, I don't see any questions right now. It looks like I keep getting a warning message saying that my stream bitrate is too slow. I'm not sure how to fix that right now, but I'll just keep on going. And right now I want to go to an assessment that, for lack of a better word, it's called the 100% assessment. And I want to show you this from the beginning, from the student's point of view first, so you can see from that view what it's like. So I always have the students put in their name separately. So if I want to manipulate the spreadsheet behind the scenes later, I can. Then I usually have the students put in their hour, as whatever hour they have class or a period. It's hard to remember to say hour. At my new school, they use hour instead of periods, and when I taught in Los Angeles for 15 years, we used periods. So same thing. So I'll choose hour 1 for this example, then I click next. And then you can see I have a new section. Okay, it didn't go straight to another question, and you'll see that on the other side when I show you how to build this one. You're going to be making multiple sections. You would put your first question in this section and however many options you have for your students to choose. You do need to use multiple choice questions for this type of assessment, and this is usually a formative assessment for me, just so you can see where the kids are, and plus you'll see in a second that this type of form gives them feedback. So let's choose option 3 for now, and then click next. Oh, I didn't get the question right. So it says, please watch the video below to learn more about this question. And I put a video here. Yes, shameless plug, this is my video. 6 components of skill-related fitness. So the students would watch this, or they're supposed to watch it anyways. It's there for them to watch. And then they would click next, and it takes them back to the question that they just missed. And it gives them an opportunity to answer that question again. So let's try option 2. And next. Nope, I got it wrong again. So I can rewatch the video if I want, or I can click next and then go to option 1. Since there's only 3 options for this question, it's pretty easy that option 1 would be correct. I click next. It says, this section says, congrats, you got the answer right, good job. And then the student would then click next, and they get to see the next question. So they have to get the question correct before they are able to move on. And that's what I really like about this Google form. The students have to continue answering. Can they cheat? Yes, and just continue choosing different options. Of course they can, but hopefully they will do the right thing and either watch the video, or as you'll see in this example, I think the right answer is number 2. And great work, I answered correctly. Let me go back. I want to click option 1, click next. See on this one, for the wrong answer, please read the website to learn more about this topic. And they have to go to, well, for this sample, just google.com. I would actually have a real place for them to go see the message or see the information, whether it's a website, PDF, whatever I wanted to link in there. So let's go back and choose option 2 so we can go on. Click next because I got it correct. And then at the end, once they have finally answered all the questions correctly, then they would submit. And that is how that Google form works. So let's build this one. I'm not going to build it all the way from scratch like I did the first one, because there's lots of tricks, but I will make sure to, and I don't want to miss any of the tricks live and mess it up for you, so I'll show you the one that I have built, and because I know everything here is set up correctly. So I start off with my first section, which is just the title of the assessment. You can name the assessment whatever you'd like to name it. I just call it the 100% assessment for training purposes, and so I can remember which Google form I'm presenting at the time. I usually put the last name and the first name and the hour that they are in my class, and then I go make a new section. So if you're not sure how to make a section, say I just typed this question, I would go to these double bars or this equal sign to click Add Section, and then it would bring me down here to Section 2. And you'll see that it numbers all of the sections for you, which is going to come in really handy when we start connecting them together. And so Section 1 of assessment, whatever you want to title Section 1, maybe because you'll do it question by question. And so these assessments are, like I said earlier, mainly for a formative type of assessment, and you're probably going to want them to be separate, to the questions to be separate, so the students can really get to know that specific part of the standard really well. So you're going to put in a section title here, maybe it's throwing, and then on your first question you might say which option below represents a piece of proper throwing form for the overhand throw. And then you could option 1, option 2, option 3, and type those in. One thing that you need to do though is, again, make sure it's multiple choice. And you can see not only do I have my options here, but I have these extra spaces for the Google form to know to skip to a different section based on the answer. And this is called branch logic. Okay? So in order to set that up, you come down here to these 3 dots, you click on it, and then you'll click on Go to Section Based on Answer. Excuse me for just a second as I get a quick drink. Throat's a little dry. Now once you click on there, then you can see that all of the sections you have made are available for you to choose from. Okay? And that is how you connect this question to the next couple of sections. So this question here, this first question, if the student chooses option 1, it'll tell them to go to section 3, and it will automatically say, oh, correct answer, congrats, you got the answer correct. But if they choose option 2 or 3, for like in this sample question, it has them going to section 4, which is good try. Watch the video below to learn about the question. Okay? Now, we have to do another little tricky item to make sure that at the end of section 3 and section 4, the Google form knows where to go next. If they get the answer correct, it's going to show them to go to section 5, section 2 of assessment. Okay? Oops, I messed it up. There we go. So after section 4, go to section 5, section 2 of assessment. So that's telling them to go right here to question 2. Okay. Now, if they got it wrong, they'll go to section 5. It'll bring them back up to the original question, section 2. Okay? It's kind of confusing, I know, But what I'm going to do is I'm going to, if you type your email in the chat, I will send you copies of these. So all you have to do is click on make a copy, and you'll have these already set up for you. And then if you want to make them on your own later and revise them, then you can do that. You can just make modifications. And then the same thing for question 2. Okay, it's got the question 2 goes here, whatever your question might be, and then the 3 options. Then you have to go down here to the 3 dots to make sure you select go to section based on answer. And then you have these options to choose from. And those are the different sections. And then, just like above, depending on what they answer, they will be directed to a different part of the Google form. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing, and that's why I didn't want to try to make it from the very beginning, because it always takes me a while to make it, and that's why I want to share it with you. If you slide those emails into the comments, I will do that. And then you can go to the responses, and you can see the responses right there. Of course, everyone's always going to get 100%, because that is how this Google form is set up. So there's no reason to really come to the responses unless you just want to make sure everybody took this quiz or this formative assessment, or just to look at a pretty graph, because it's set up for everyone to get a 100%. Okay. Let's go back to my Google Drive, and I have one more Google form that I would really like to show, and this is an escape room, type of Google form, and I want to take you through it like I am a student, and you can kind of see that I've already started filling it out before, because it has some stuff marked already, but I'll just go over that. Yeah, that's the nice thing about Google Forms now, is that they actually save your work. They didn't used to do that in the past. So let me type in some information here. Again, I always have my students put in their last name and first name separately, choose their hour, click next, okay? And then here's where the escape room actually starts. Why it says personal info up here, I accidentally named the whole Google form personal info, so I just need to go back and change that. Don't make that same mistake that I did. And so you're going to see personal info on every page because I messed up on my naming. I need to go back and change that. So you can see the escape room starts here with this message. The mysterious Mr. E has transported you to Mexico High School Sports Complex and has stolen Mr. Ellerbrock's prized possessions, teddy bears. Mr. Ellerbrock is our principal. I told him about this. He just giggled. It was pretty funny. You have been chosen to be the hero of the story to rescue yourself and your friends and get back to the teddy bears, but he has locked you in. Answer the riddles to find the keys to unlock the doors and escape the room with Mr. Ellerbrock's teddy bears. Now I have to be up front with you on this part. I made this for my students, and I believe it's all about skills-based health education. And I got to remember if I can remember the answers to get all the way through. Let's see. So, door number 1. You found the first teddy bear, but you are locked in the health room. The door is locked. Solve the puzzle below to discover the key. Once you've found the key, Enter it in the space below. If it is correct, it will unlock the door. If wrong, you could be locked in the sports complex forever. Enter your answer in all capitals. Oh, lucky me. I think it's already there for me. So I'm going to copy and paste that. Copy it for now so I can delete it. Now, if you notice, if I type in the wrong answer, it's going to say, sorry, that's not correct, try again. So let me paste in that answer that I had and click next, and it let me through the door. So I made it through that part of the escape room. And don't worry, I'll show you how all this works on the back side. And again, if you put your email in the chat, I'll send you a copy of this one as well, because this one is quite a bit more difficult to set up. It's another one of those branch logic Google forms, but they're really fun to use. They're just a little harder to well, not hard, but it takes more time to set up. So here we go. You made it through the first door. Congratulations. You head down the stairs, try to escape through the lobby, but are forced into the weight room by ghostly football players. You find a second teddy bear on top of the dumbbells, so you pick it up and try the door, but it's locked. Solve the next puzzle to unlock this door. So then they click next. And then look at the writing below. Some of the words are missing. Use the word bank at the bottom to work out the order of the missing words. Then take the first letter of each missing word and enter them below to try to unlock the door. Enter your answer in all capitals. So then they have to read the story and plug in the different words and then type in the answer down here at the bottom in all caps. And let me copy that, and then I will delete it. And again, let's see, they do that and click next. Again, they get a message, sorry, not correct, please try again. So let's put the correct answer back in there. Click next, and they get through that door. It says, wow, very impressive. You made it through 2 doors and rescued 2 teddy bears. They look up to you with awe and admiration. You're a hero. But as you walk through the back of the weight room, you follow a narrow corridor and end up locked in the girls' PE locker room. Solve the puzzle below to find the key. Now, as you can see from the way it reads, is I've based it off of the school where I teach, and the kids would understand all of these references. So you would definitely want to make your escape room personal to your school building. Or I've also seen it made where they're stuck in a castle and they have to escape different rooms of a castle. Different ways that you can set up your escape room. I just like making it as relevant as possible to my students as I can. All right, so here is the answer. I'm going to again copy that so I can paste it in later. And let's read what we have here. All of the answers you need are in the picture below. Unfortunately, all of the words have been mixed up. These are all words to do with skills-based health. Unscramble the words, then take the first letter from each word and enter them below to unlock the door. Enter your answer in all capitals. So then they have to unscramble these words, all 5 of them. This one is planned. Let's see. Number 5 is skills. Oh, I'm trying to remember what the words are. Let's see. I'd have to take some time to actually sit down and do it. I can't remember right off the top of my head. So, but again, just like the others, even if they hit all caps, if they hit next, it's going to have that message at the bottom. Sorry, not correct. Try again. So then let me copy and paste the correct answer in. Click next, and congratulations, we have gotten through. All right. So we're getting close to the end. As you burst through the third door, both teddy bears roar with happiness. You step into a room you didn't know was there. It's the varsity girls' basketball locker room. It has rows and rows of basketballs lined up against the wall. You are sure you see one of the balls move. Then you discover a third teddy bear hiding behind the state championship ball. You scoop up the teddy bear and hurry across to the other side, where you find yet another locked door in front of you. Solve the next puzzle to get the teddy bears out of here. So we click next. Now we have a different type of puzzle. Look at the icons below. They are all skills that will be learned in class this semester. Use the word bank underneath to work out the names of each icon in the correct order. Then take the first letter of each name and use this as the key for the door. Enter your answers in all caps. So it works just the same. They have to figure out, okay, number 1 is whatever it is, number 2, whatever it is, and same for number 3 through 7. And then they have to take the first letter of the words or the skills and then put them in order. And now you know how it's going to work. If I type in a wrong answer, it's going to say, sorry, not the right answer, try again. So this is the correct answer, so I'm just going to go ahead and click next. And then it says, congratulations, the door busts open and you run through carrying all 3 very happy teddy bears. You turn the corner and are almost blindsided by the bright light. It's the sunshine. You've escaped through the glass doors in the lobby of the sports complex. Well done, hero. You deserve an award. Click submit to complete the activity. And so that's what I will do. Okay? And that is our escape room activity. I really hope that you are enjoying this Google Forms live stream so far. We're getting close to our hour mark, but this is supposed to last till 11:30, and it will probably be done just a touch early. I want to run through the setup of this real quick for you, just a brief setup. Again, if you type in your email in the chat, I can definitely send you copies of these so you don't have to create them 100% all by yourself, because this branch logic type of setup is quite difficult until you get used to it. You have to set things up way in advance and kind of know where you're going. So here we go. Here's, I can just change this now, this personal info. I'll oops, I got the caps on. Skills based health ESCAPE. I gotta make sure I spell correctly. Room. There we go. And then if I want to, I can come up here and change that later, but so I know exactly what it is instead of just escape room. Might as well do that since I'm talking about it. Oops, I hit the caps lock button again. There we go. Now it's all fixed, so I'll know for next time. Just like I've showed you in the other ones, last name required, first name required, hour required. Again, that's just so I can check answers easier in the spreadsheet if I decide to make a spreadsheet for that form. Now, this is where it gets tricky, because we have all of these sections, okay, and I've got all this stuff in there. So before I actually show you the rest of the Google form, because I showed you this because it's the easy part, I want to take you back to my Google Drive, and I want you to see this folder right here. It's called Escape Room. This is where I put all of my assets to my form, everything that I need to put into the form. So I created these documents, and you can see that there are spreadsheets and Google Docs. And then what I would do when the documents were open is I would screenshot them, and then I can add the screenshots into the Google form as pictures. And that is how I got the pictures like this one into the Google form. So that's a little trick there that we have when we're making these forms, because you can't make an actual grid like this inside Google Forms. You have to do it somewhere else and screenshot and then put a picture in. Okay, so after the hour question, I added a section. Again, you add a section with the little equals sign right here. And I'm down on section 2 now. And this is the first description of how the whole thing starts. I'm going to have it go to the next section, just like I did above. And it will automatically go to the next section unless you have it change it. If you don't have it changed from here is where you change it. You click on the little down arrow, choose where you want it to go. But for this one, since they can't go on, you can see at the bottom, they all always go to the next section. Where like the other branch logic one that we set up for like the 100% assessment, you had to make it go to different sections. In this one, it's not, I guess this one honestly is not really branch logic, but there's special features that you have to use, which I want to show you right now. So when you make a section, you can type in the description here. You can title it Door 1 or whatever you'd like to title it. And then you're going to come up here to make your question. This is a short answer question. I didn't really need to make another one, so I'm going to delete that. And so I'll click here. You can see it's a short answer question. And what I did is with this little function right here, I added this picture in. Okay, that screenshot that I told you about. So you would click on that, you would go find your screenshot wherever you saved it and insert it into here. Now, down here in the 3 dots, kind of like the branch logic, you have to come down here for some options. You're going to click on response validation. And once you do that, then this little part down here at the bottom will pop up, and you can choose what kind of validation: number, text, length, regular expression. I've never used the number or the regular expression. The text is how I have it set up now, so they have to type it in exactly like I have it. That's why I tell them up here, enter your answer in all capitals. And then this is text that I have to type in. You can type in whatever you'd like whenever the answer is wrong to let them know that the answer is wrong, that they have to try again. They'll also get the hint that the answer is wrong if you don't type anything in there, because the Google form just won't move forward until they get it correct. But it's nice to give them that little hint when they're frustrated and trying to get this thing solved. If you choose number, you're going to have to just put in a series of numbers here that the students will have to get correct. If you choose length, then they have to type in so many characters. And I've done that before too on a different Google form, where the students had to type in a minimum of 150 characters, 200 characters, whatever it might be, because I wanted them to put thought into their answer and not just write something easy and simple. So I really like that option there, to make them put in a certain number of characters. But for this example, they don't need that. They just need text, and they need to put it in correctly. So once they get it correct, then they come to section 4, and it just says congrats and gives them the next part and tells them to unlock the next the puzzle or the next door, and then they get the next clue, or the next puzzle. And again, this is a short answer question. You can see that here. Again, this is a screenshot that I added through this photo option here, this picture option that you can add in. You might also see these 3 dots that are popping up. You probably noticed it on the previous picture as well. If you click on that, you can align it, or you can remove it, or you can change it, the picture, or you can add a caption to the picture. I always like to center mine in the center of the page. And then, just like before, you have to come down to the 3 dots, click on response validation, and then choose text contains. You can also put these other things in there, but for this example, contains, and then you put in the answer, and you can put in some text for them to see that they do not have the correct answer. One thing that I haven't mentioned yet that I need to is you need to make sure that you mark required on all of these, because if it's not required, then the students can just click through, and you don't want that to happen. You want them to fully answer all of the questions and solve all of those puzzles before they move on. Okay, then it sends you to the next section, section 6, congratulations. It gives you a little bit more information. Then it sends you to section 7, so you can solve the next puzzle. And this is the same, short answer. I typed in what they needed to know. So for some reason I put it as a question instead of the description up here like I did for the others. Either way works, because if you see up here, I put there was no question. I put it up here under the door. But down here, instead of putting it in the description of the door, I put it in as a question. So either way will work. The kids didn't even notice whenever I did this activity with them earlier in the semester. You're going to come down here to the dots, select response validation, make sure you have it required, type in your not correct text, choose text, and you are ready to go on. So as soon as they get it correct, they go on to the next section, and you kind of see how this works. Okay, and then finally they get to the very end. Once they get to the end, they will see the submit button, and they have escaped the room. They are out of the building with Mr. Ella Brock's teddy bears. So, pretty good Google form. Kids like it. If you're wondering about the teddy bears, I just got this image off of Google Images and inserted it through themes. Well, you can customize the themes up here on the paint palette, and you can even change the colors. It's a pretty cool little Google form, and I'm trying to think of different ways to do it because the students really like the escape room type activities. I've done this digital one with my health class this semester, and then I did a more of a real type one in class where they had manipulatives that they were using, and got great responses from both activities. So let's see. Let me go back to my Google Drive and make sure I've covered everything for you. Oh, there's one more, and it's pretty simple. This is a sequencing Google form. And so sequencing, what I mean by that is like if you need to have the students put things in order, this is a great way to have them do that. So again, so this is a silly thing that you're seeing here right now. I have last name, hour, you have class, and first name. It's like that because on the back side I have the questions in random order, and I'm trying to figure out if there is a way that you can randomize certain sections. So this is a certain section. Whenever I click next, you'll see a next section. But I think as of right now, unless I'm mistaken, which I could be mistaken, um, you can randomize individual sections, and I need to go back and unrandomize this section. So why would I want random sections? Is because of the next section, for instance. This is all about frog growth. I got this example from Eric Kurtz from Control-Alt-Delete, and I just wanted to use his example because it was a great example, but these questions are not in order, they're random. Okay, so thank you, Eric Kurtz, for this example. So I just went out and got random frog question or frog pictures based on their age. Okay, so we have adult frog, froglet, frog eggs, and tadpole, and the students have to choose which order that this picture is in. So if they choose fourth, because this is the adult frog, and then they choose for froglet 3, and frog eggs 1, and then the tadpole 2. I'm pretty sure that's the correct order. And then they click submit, and then they can see their score because we have it set up as a quiz, and you can see that the student, luckily I know my life cycle of a frog, I got a 4 out of 4. So let me show you how to set that up real quick. This one's actually pretty easy. So you've only got 2 sections for this. I always separate or not always, but a lot of times I will separate the name section. So I put in the last name, the first name, the hour they have class. Those are all required questions. And then I make a new section from here with the little equal sign, which means add new section. And then I titled my section. And then from there, I give us some instructions. The items below are in random order. Select the correct positions from younger to older. And then I start answering or adding my questions. So these are drop-down questions. You'll choose drop-down from the choices. You add in your picture using this little picture icon right here. And then you will put in your options. You can see it's option, I just have first, second, third, and fourth. And then go to the answer key, and you can select how many points you want it to be, and then select the correct answer. And then you will be done with that question. Now, to make things a little bit simpler on yourself, what you can do is you can hit this button right here after you put in the first one, and this is the duplicate button. And then that way, all you have to do, because it will duplicate, like if I push duplicate on this, I'll do it just as an example, I can always remove it later. So it made the duplicate. Now all I have to do is come in here and change the picture, which I'm not going to do right now, and then come down to the answer key and change the correct answer on the answer key and put in how many points I want it to be and click done. Okay, so it's a lot easier than having to recreate the whole thing. It'll save you a few minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that question for now since I don't need 2 of them. Then you'll go ahead and do the same thing for all of the different questions that you have. You'll type in tadpole, like this one was frog eggs. I usually try to do it in order: frog eggs, and then tadpole because that's the next step, and then froglet because that's the next step. Excuse me. and then adult frog because that's the next step. And then when you come up here to settings and you choose quiz, then you can say, where is it? Have to find it real quick. Oh, I just lost it. You can immediately release grades after each section. You can put it in locked mode if you want, so students can't go look up any of the answers. Let's see. You can choose who gets to answer these questions in the responses tab, and then here we go. So in the presentation tab, you can shuffle the question order, and that's what I've done. And that's why I'd like to make sections for my questions, because for the names, like I have last name, first name, and hour, and then I make a new section, because if I don't make a new section with the shuffle order or shuffle options part where it randomizes the questions, if I don't have two sections, then it will mix up the name and the hour questions, and I don't want that to happen. So that's why I put the name, the last name, first name, and hour, then I create a new section and then put in whatever I'm trying to sequence, or that's basically for any type of Google form where I want the answers to be randomized. So I truly hope that this has been a great video for you. I hope you've learned a lot. Again, if you put those emails in the chat box, I will be happy to send you a link to all of these so you don't have to recreate them, and make your life a lot easier. Again, my name is Eric DeVolt. You can find me on Twitter at Mr. Physical Ed, or at my website, which is called the Phys Ed Coach. I have lots of materials there for you to use. You can sign up for my email list and receive emails from me about different topics. It would also be great if you subscribed to my YouTube channel. I'm on a quest to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I'm at 966. And if you could subscribe, that would be awesome. I thank you for spending your day with me, or your morning, and I hope to be live streaming again soon, and I hope to see you here. Have a great day, and may God